Okay, so today we continue with our class Halachos of Brochos, and we start with one second as well. Sefer Shmiras Haloshon. And today's topic stained volumes. Okay, and it says, our sages teach. One second. Our sages teach. Tana Devele Eliyahu Zuta, chapter 24, that when a person comes to the next world, his every deed and word is shown to him, and he is judged accordingly. So that's the first thing when a person passes away. He's shown the whole life, right? And with all of the timestamps, whatever he did, whatever he said, every word he said, knowingly, unknowingly, even empty conversation, right? Everything is going to show to him. Picture a man who all his life zealously studied the pages of the Talmud each day. He anticipates that after his death, the thousands of pages that he has studied will be brought before the heavenly court, and will earn, one second, in much reward. Let me close the windows, it's too loud. Sorry about that. Okay. So he anticipates a big reward. He studies every day at a page of the Talmud. However, when he arrives, when the time does arrive, that the pages are brought out, he discovered much to his dismay that each page enveloped in a Ruach Hatumah, which is a spirit of impurity. So all of this holy Torah that he learned involves in Ruach Hatumah, enveloped, right? That resulted from the disregard of the prohibition against speaking and accepting Lashon Hara. How great his anguish will be when he sees how his carelessness in this critical area caused him the irreplaceable loss of the hard-earned wealth. So as we know that when somebody speaks Lashon Hara, so he loses his merits. So and his merits actually goes to the person against whom he is talking about, right? This point can be illustrated by a parable of a man who purchased that seemed to be most exquisite set of Talmud. The cover of each volume, was made of leather, embossed with a beautiful gold design, and bound with a fine heirloom binding. So beautiful, right? Very expensive. The seller had assured the buyer that the inside of each volume has as beautiful as its outside, and thus there is no need to open and inspect it. The buyer had taken him at his word and paid in full, after which the seller left the town for some undisclosed destination. How utterly dismayed the buyer was when he later discovered that the page of each volume was stained by thick grime. How angry the buyer was at himself for not having inspected the volumes before purchasing them. You understand? Just because a person does not learn Halachos, so whatever we learn, Shmiras Haloshon, and he or she said it's too much for me, it's too hard, it does not change the reality. So a person does them so all his life, and he loses many of them, right? Because of speaking Lashon Hara. Also, so it is with a habitual gossiper. Even if he will study the entire Talmud many times, and then in the end not a single tractate will shield him at his time of judgment. Each volume will be enveloped in impurity and will be repulsive to look at. So we're talking about habitual gossiper. So our Rabbi said that habitual gossiper, one of the people that has no share in the world to come. So if somebody just speaks occasionally Lashon Hara, there is a maybe. Hopefully that we're going to do Teshuvah, but habitual, no place in the world to come with all his achievements. A wise man considers the ramification of his actions and acts accordingly. Therefore, while one strives to live by the verse, the beginning of the wisdom is to acquire wisdom. The wisdom is to acquire wisdom. He must also strive to live by the comparison, by the companion verse. The beginning of the wisdom is fear of Hashem. That's from Mishle, I think. The beginning of the wisdom is fear of Hashem. Such approach is the key of good life in both worlds. For the Torah study For the Torah study is complemented by genuine fear of God, exceedingly beloved to Hashem. So Torah study together with fear of God. All right, let's stop here. No problem. So we continue with our Halachos of Brochos, and let's see what our topic is. Okay, I think it's a blessing on the fruits. Yeah, Borei Haetz, Haadamah. So we're still learning about the fruits. Okay, so now we arrived at section B, and topic is soups. This section discusses the Bracha Rishona requirements for soups. Okay. So we're talking about Bracha Rishona. Bracha Achrana, the after blessing, we already spoke about it, I think. Yes, we spoke. So it says, in most cases, the bracha on a soup, which contains solid pieces of vegetables, Borei Haadamah. A second bracha is not required for the liquid broth, as it's covered by the Borei Haadamah made on vegetables. Okay, so we have vegetable soup. You say only blessing on the vegetables, and it covers everything. Okay. In many cases, the soup was cooked with vegetables and captured the flavor of the vegetables. Even if the liquid soup is eaten alone without vegetables in a bowl, the bracha is nevertheless Borei Haadamah. Okay, so let's say a person does not want to eat vegetables, only want to drink the liquid or eat the liquid right from the soup. Doesn't matter. So it still says the blessing Borei Haadamah, not shechako. So why? Because this water absorbs the taste of the vegetables. So it tastes like vegetables. So that's why we said Borei Haadamah. Continue. Number one, vegetable soup, bean soup, potato soup. The bracha for vegetable soups made from vegetables or beans is Borei Haadamah. So that's obvious, right? As we just said. If one ladles out some of the liquid soup and serves it without vegetables, he should nevertheless make Borei Haadamah. Okay, as we just explained. So I mean, just if he wants to take only from the top the liquid, doesn't matter. As we said, still Borei Haadamah. If flour was added to thicken the soup, the bracha is nevertheless Borei Haadamah. Commentary. Normally, if one of the ingredients of mixture is mizoines, the bracha is Borei mizoines. In this case, however, since the flour is added merely to thicken the soup, it's not considered ikar, as explained in chapter 4. Okay, so let's try to understand. So usually when we eat mizoines, meaning all of these things from 5 grains, that's always requires separate blessing. Maybe even if it's not majority, right? But here, and sometimes it would be the only blessing that you would need to say. But here in this specific case, the flour was not added for the taste, but only for thickening the soup. So that's different issue. So it's not primary component; it's a secondary. So we still say Borei Haadamah. If the vegetable soup contained barley or noodles, the bracha is Borei minei mizonos, as explained in chapter 4 below. Okay, so we're going to get to chapter 4. Okay, so if you have some noodles, you have vegetables, and of course water, so you say Borei minei mizonos on the soup. Okay, so number 2, cream of potato soup. Okay, so it's separate soup, cream of potato. This viscose soup is made from the finely ground or pureed potatoes, and there are solid bits of potatoes in a bowl. As is usually the case, the bracha is Borei Haadamah. So because why? Because there are solid pieces of potato. It's not like one like puree, like kind of soup. It has pieces of potatoes. If not, the bracha is shechakol. The vegetables which are pureed, right, to the extent that they no longer retain their original form or appearance, is subject to shechakol, as explained in chapter 22. Okay, so if they put this soup, I guess with potato, with everything through the blender, right? So that's it. So it automatically becomes shechakol. The only exception, not the only, but one of the exceptions that we learned before on mashed potatoes, even though you don't see for sure you don't see the pieces, right? But since we know for sure it looks like mashed potato, you cannot make any mistake that it is actually potatoes. So we say Borei Haadamah, and we said even on instant potatoes, which is like logically does not make sense, right? But logically it should be shechakol because it was completely dried. It has nothing to do with original potato. It was changed a lot, right? But since the end result looks like actually mashed potatoes, many times unless you know that you would not figure out. Like from looking at it from outside, it looks I think very close to the to the actual mashed potatoes from regular potatoes. Right. So one more time. If this soup has a piece of this cream of potato soup has this finely ground stuff, pureed potato and pieces, you say Borei Haadamah. If no pieces, shechakol. Okay, continue. Instant soups. Vegetable soups which are hydrated. So let me see the commentary. Vegetables and herbs as parsley, dills, etc., which ordinarily required inspection for insects prior to use. Require no prior inspection if hydrated. Very interesting. So let's try to understand what it says here. So it says that the vegetables and herbs such as parsley, dills, etc. Right. So all of these greeneries we must always check. Always. Have I ever me personally find anything in dills? Never. Never ever. The parsley never ever. But we still check. I mean that's our mitzvah is to check. Our mitzvah is not find. I mean, of course, we wash before we check. Of course, we wash even twice, right? So, okay. But very interesting what he says. So if they hydrated, 1 second. So if they dehydrated, so dehydrated meaning that the water was removed. So in this case, no prior inspection is required. Okay. So I guess when they dehydrate it, they have to like pulverize it almost. I think that would be the thing. So the issue is eating bugs, right? That's the issue. So, but if this bug, if it's a complete creature, well, whatever insect, whatever is it, right? So a person, even if it's dead, if it's alive, it's a different story. But if it's dead, so a person just did avera. Even that depends on kind of bug, from 1 to 5. From 1 to 5, avera depends on the kind or type of the bugs. But if it was pulverized, right? There is no problem, because now it's just one of the forbidden entities, and this forbidden entity we compare 1 to 60. Of course, it's never 1 to 60, right? So it's actually been nullified. That's why they say you're not obligated to check. I mean, there is not much to check to begin with, I guess. Okay. Continue. So one more time, this continue with instant soup, same sentence. Vegetable soup made from dehydrated soup mixes, for example, packets of dried vegetables and herbs, and flavoring, which are added to water to make instant soup. I usually eaten for the liquid soup. Just 1 second. One more time, the whole sentence. I apologize. Vegetable soups made from dehydrated soup mixes. Okay. In parentheses, there is a packets of dried vegetables and herbs and flavoring, which are added to make added to the water to make instant soup. I usually eaten for the liquid soup. So okay, of course, when we eat soup. When I say I want to soup, you mean that liquid stuff, of course, right? The flavor in the vegetables salads are added merely to enhance the liquid. Okay, since the liquid is an ikar, the appropriate blessing is shechako, which will exempt the other enhancing ingredients. Some types of microwave ready. I mean, it's not so simple. Maybe I'm not sure what the instant soup is. I mean, if some soup they sell, they call a noodle cup, right? This soup. So for sure that's you say Borei name is on this cup. But other instant soups, so it looks like some kind of vegetable soup. Even though there are vegetables, they just been dehydrated. I'm not sure, like it's not so clear why he's saying that we eat only because of the liquid. Of course, I mean you want liquid for sure. I'm not arguing about liquid, but in this case he put vegetable as secondary. I'm not sure, but in previous vegetable soup he says that the vegetables are primary, and even on a liquid you say Borei pri Haadamah. So let's continue reading. Maybe it's going to be some kind of explanation, because it's does not make sense. Continue. Some of the microwave ready instant soups, dehydrated ingredients packaged in a ready to serve cup, microwave, okay, contain ample amount of vegetables. The bracha for such soups is Borei pri Haadamah, as delineated in paragraph B1. Okay, so that was we just did. I guess the first kind of dehydrated soup mix, I think it's on the liquid. That's the way I understand. Otherwise, it does not make sense. So it's liquid only, and in flavoring, right? So all of this. Mostly liquid, so that's why they say shechako. Okay, here we say if it's a lot of vegetables in that soup, so you say Borei pri Haadamah. Other types of microwave ready soup in a cup contain ample amounts of noodles, The bracha for such a soup, barep minei mizoines, as explained in paragraph 4 below. Okay, so of course, I mean, if you have this noodle cup, you say barep minei mizoines. Okay. So continue. Regarding instant split pea soup, see application B11 below. Okay, we're going to get split pea soup. Okay. Continue. Number 4. Soup containing barley or noodles. For vegetable barley soup or vegetable noodle soup, one should make borei minei mizoines on a barley or noodles, which will exempt the vegetables and the liquid as well. Even if the soup contains more vegetables than barley, nevertheless one should make borei minei mizoines on a barley, which will exempt the other ingredients. Okay. So let's read the commentary and we're going to explain. If soup consists mostly of liquid, containing only a small amount of barley grains, the following procedure should be followed. First, make borei minei mizoines on some of the barley. Next, take some of the food or drink whose bracha is shechakol, except water, and make shechakol on it while having the intention to exempt the soup. One should not make shechakol on water in order to bypass the uncertain in chapter 13, section A5a. Okay, so let's try to understand. So now we're talking about soup, regular vegetable soup, but it has barley. I think when they make like mushroom soups, they always add barley, right? Or some other soup that they add noodles. Okay, so if it's a substantial amount of noodles, right? Even for sure, it's less than vegetables. We're not arguing. It's less than vegetables. Doesn't matter. So if it's substantial amount, so you say borei minei mizoines, right, on the noodles, and it's going to cover vegetables and liquid. No problem. But if it's only few pieces of barley, let's say, or a few pieces of noodle, like that's it, right? So they say now it's questionable if you can say borei minei mizoines on a soup and it's going to cover all other ingredients as well. So in this case, they offer this roundabout approach, as we discussed in the past, which is you say borei minei mizoines on a barley from the soup, right? But still, since it's only little barley, so it's not 100% appropriate blessing, right? So they say make another blessing, right? On something else, right? Or except the water. So we mean shechakol to cover the rest of the soup, right? So as we said last time or the time before that, and sugar cubes on something that requires one piece of chicken, whatever, a piece of fish, whatever requires shechakol, and keep in mind that it should cover the soup itself, the liquid and vegetables from the soup. Okay. So that's the solution. So okay. So many times before eating, especially soup, it's not so simple. Before you eat, just give yourself a few seconds, just think about it and what blessing I should make. So if you don't eat it with bread, of course, what blessing should I make on this soup, right? So it's not such an easy thing. I mean, it's straightforward, but you have to think and analyze. Okay, next one. Any questions on what we said? One second. Let me take out this banner. 1 second. Okay. So we continue then. No problem. So number 5 is mushroom soup. The bracha on mushroom soup is shechakol. Okay. So in general, so blessing on the mushrooms is shechakol. Mushrooms are not vegetables. Just so you know, it's a separate category. Because why? We know that mushrooms are taken there, even though they have roots in the ground for sure, but they get the nourishment from the air, not from the ground. So vegetables get the nourishment from the ground, not mushrooms. So continue. For soup containing mushrooms and vegetables, if the majority ingredients, not counting the liquid, is mushroom, the bracha is shechakol. Okay. If the majority ingredients is vegetable, bracha is borei pri Haadamah. Okay. A separate bracha is not required for a liquid soup. For mushrooms, barley soup. Okay, no, let's not go there. So, so even though the soup is called mushroom soup, so meaning that's what you wanted. Where the mushrooms is for you prefer ingredients. I mean, if you prefer ingredients, so it's a different story, right? But now we say what is the majority? So if majority is vegetables, so you say borei pri Haadamah. If majority is mushrooms, so you say shechakol. But I think most of the time it's only mushrooms. I think it's always minority. I think maybe some soups they have a lot of mushrooms, but usually it's not. It's not the case usually. Okay. For mushroom barley soup, one should make borei min mizonos on barley, which will exempt the mushrooms and the liquid soup as well. Okay, as we said in chapter 4 above, as we explained. So if it has barley, and you know that the barley were added for a taste, and it did add change the taste, and they made the soup thick. So of course you say borei min mizonos. Okay. So far, just to conclude a little, we didn't finish, but to conclude, we say on a soup, we say only one blessing. So far, only one blessing, right? Only in case of the doubt in this mizonos, when only little mizonos, so still on a soup you say only one blessing, but you're trying to rectify the situation and you say blessing on something else. But on a soup, only one blessing so far. Continue. Number 6, fruit soups. For fruit soups containing solid pieces of fruit, one should make bracha for the fruit which will exempt the liquid soup. For example, for a soup made of cherries, peaches, and plums, one should recite borei pri Haetz. Okay, I never ate the fruit soup, but okay. Okay, no problem. So anyway, so since the most important ingredients and majority of the salad ingredients is fruit, so I say borei pri Haetz. If one wishes to eat the liquid without the fruit, he should make shechakol. So comment. If few fruit pieces wind up being served alone with the liquid, they are covered with shechakol. Okay. So if you want to eat soup with the liquid, it's borei pri Haetz. If only the liquid, you say shechakol, and if few pieces of fruit fell in, so they're irrelevant. It's only a minority, and that's not what you wanted. So shechakol blessing actually is going to cover these pieces of fruits as well. Four soups containing solid pieces of fruits and fruit of the tree and fruits of the ground, one make the bracha on majority type. For soups containing solid pieces of fruits of the tree and fruits of the ground, one should make bracha on majority type. I'm not sure. I never tried such a soup with the vegetables and fruits in one dish. But anyway, doesn't matter. So we say blessing on majority, whatever is majority. To illustrate, if soup contains a majority, not counting the liquid, or fruits of the ground, for example, pineapple, strawberries, the bracha. Oh yeah. I completely forgot. Yeah, strawberries, of course. Strawberries, Borei pri Haadamah, right? The bracha, Borei pri Haadamah. In either case, fruits of the tree. 1 second. Fruits of the tree or a ground. The liquid which is eaten together with the fruit is exempt by the bracha made on the fruit. So one more time, you have strawberry soup from strawberry and whereas pineapple, which is both of them Borei pri Haadamah, and cherries, which Borei pri Haetz, and plums also Borei pri Haetz. So you see what is more. And you say the blessing on majority, and majority covers minority, right? So meaning what? So in this case, even if you say on cherries, let's say it's mostly cherries, mostly apples, so you're going to say Borei pri Haetz, and it's going to cover fruits of the ground, which is Borei pri Haadamah. But it's only, just to clarify, it's only because it's one dish. So otherwise it's not going to fly. Right, so I cannot say on bananas Borei pri Haetz. It's not going to work. It's not going to cover. But since it's because it's a separate fruit. But if it's one meal, so it can cover. So that's the thing. Okay, so number 7, cabbage soup, beet borscht. The bracha on cabbage soup with pieces of cabbage, and beet borscht with pieces of beets is Borei pri Haadamah. I mean, there are other ingredients, but those are majority, they're the most important ingredients. Okay, anyway, so you say Borei pri Haadamah. No problem. Continue. Regarding eating the liquid only, without pieces of cabbage or beets, see below. Okay, no problem. So technically, if the we actually said about it, right? If this liquid, since it contains like the taste of the fruits, of this vegetable, so we can say Borei pri Haadamah. Okay. Continue. Now it's getting a little more complicated, right? So what is complicated? Chicken or meat soup. So you have chicken. Of course, it's only maybe 1-2 pieces of chicken, of course, right? And you have vegetables, liquid, and others. Okay, so let's see. The bracha on clear chicken or meat broth is shechakol, of course, right? There is no meat there. Say even there is meat, so you say shechakol. Even if soup was cooked with carrots, celery, and other vegetables, doesn't make any difference. So it's shechakol on a clear. Because why? The simple explanation is that all of these carrots and celery just to and onions. Sometimes they put onion. So they only to enhance the taste. It's not. It's for sure. It's not the most important component. Continue. Carrot, celery, and other vegetables served with the chicken soup should technically require separate bracha. However, if the vegetables are eaten with the soup to enhance the flavor, of the soup, as in a case with most people, they are considered tofel to the soup. So tofel is subordinate, right? As such, the vegetables are covered with shechakol made on a chicken soup and do not require separate bracha. Commentary: provided that the vegetables are eaten together on the same spoon with the soup. Okay, of course, if you eat them separately, I'm not sure how. I mean, if you want, for example, you want only cooked carrot from the soup. You don't want soup. You want only cooked carrot. So of course you're going to say you need to say Borei pri Haadamah on this carrot for sure. Continue. If one wishes to eat a plate of soup vegetables, and take some soup in a bowl, primarily to enhance the flavor of the vegetables, the soup is considered tofel to the vegetables. In this common case, one should make Borei pri Haadamah on vegetables, which will cover the soup as well. So let's try to understand what it says here. So one more time I'm going to explain. If one wishes to eat plate of soup vegetables, so he fished for all of these soup vegetables and put them on a plate and take some soup in a bowl primarily to enhance the flavor. So he separated soup to make it vegetables separately and liquid in broth separately, right? So the main dish for him is vegetables. So he said Borei Haadamah, and this broth, this liquid is only to enhance. Okay. Continue. Regarding mandolin, matzo balls, or kreplach, eaten together with soup, see chapter 4. Section E3. So all of these mandolin, matzo balls, kreplach, they're all made of mizonis, right? They're from the dough. It's right from dough, right? So we say Borei mizonis for sure on this soup. Continue. Corn soup. Corn soup is made by mixing creamed corn with milk or water. Interesting. The bracha Borei Haadamah, which exempt the liquid. Since, okay, so let's see the rationale. Since the liquid merely enhances the corn, it is exempt by the bracha. Okay, I don't think I ever tried this corn soup. Corn soup is made by mixing cream corn with the milk or water. Okay, very interesting. So we say Borei Haadamah because of the corn. Of course, water is secondary. Next one, number 10, tomato soup. Tomato soup is made for pureed tomatoes. If there are no pieces of tomato present in the soup, which is generally the case, the bracha is shechakol. Okay, so it's very, very straightforward. Bracha is shechakol. Okay, why? Because it's puree, it's like one mass. Okay, continue. So that's straightforward case. More complicated case, tomato rice soup. Tomato rice soup, tomato soup and rice cooked together, okay, is viewed as a ikar and a tofu food combination, discussed in detail chapter 4. Okay, so ikar and tofu, so ikar is a primary, tofu is a subordinate. Okay, so let's see. The rule for such a mixture is only one bracha is required. So it's not only for soups, but as we said, for dishes. Only one bracha is required. There is of the ikar. Ikar is the primary, which exempt the other component of the mixture. Thus, bracha is determined by the following. So now we have two main ingredients. One is tomato, right, and one is rice. So on tomato we say Borei Haadamah, on rice we say Borei mizonis. Okay, so what do we say in this case? Typically, one eats tomato rice soup primarily for the soup. For the soup. And eats rice in order to enhance the soup. In this case, the soup is ikar and bracha is shechakol. So he's saying that in this case he eats this tomato rice soup for the liquid only. Okay, so in this case he says shechakol. So it's not on what is it? It's not on rice, and then it's not on tomatoes. In uncommon case that one primarily wants the rice and eats the soup in order to enhance the rice. The rice is the ikar and the bracha Borei mizonis. So I think it's uncommon that person wants rice. From this soup. Okay, if one eats tomato rice soup simply because he likes both ingredients, there is neither ingredients is there to enhance the other. then ikar is a majority ingredients. In such a case, if there is more soup than rice, the bracha is shechakol. While if there is more rice than soup, the bracha is Borei minei mizonos. So I think, what is confusing here is the word soup. What does soup mean? I think soup means since these tomatoes are pureed, so they cannot be separated from liquids. So if we were talking about before, if it's let's say noodles and what is it, and vegetables. So you can see one ingredient is another ingredient, and the third ingredient is liquid. But here you don't see the liquid separate, right? The liquid is one and the same with tomatoes, right? So I don't think that rice is ever more than tomatoes. Tomatoes. I don't think so. From what I saw, it's only fraction of the soup itself. Maybe 20%, maybe, I think. All right. So in this case, you would say that the blessing shechakol, and it's going to cover this rice. Okay. So if you don't have any preference, and I think it's better not to have preference. I think. It's the life is much easier in this way. So you just say majority ingredients. That's it. But if you have preference, so of course you say on the one that you prefer, and other is enhancer, and those ingredients in enhancer to what you like more. Okay. Any questions before we continue? We're almost done. Okay, so almost done. So number 11, split pea soup. Split pea soup is made from a split peas, which are cooked until dissolved. If there are no pieces of pea present in a soup, the bracha is shechakol, because it's one mass, right? That's simple. The split pea noodle soup. The bracha on split pea noodle soup is Borei minei mizonos. Okay, so commentary. If the soup contains mostly liquid, containing only small amount of noodles, see on footnote K. So footnote K, I think that's what we say. So since it is a questionable, yeah. So since it is a questionable, so if only this tiny amount of noodles can be considered the primary ingredients. So just to be on a safe side, we say blessing on the noodles, right, separately, and without eating any liquid. And then you say shechakol blessing on something else, whatever needs, piece of chicken, whatever it is, fish, other things, cheese. Okay. Right, and then keep in mind that you want to cover the liquid as well. So that's the solution. So number 12, onion soup. Onion soup is made by sauteing onions and mixing them with the water and spices. The bracha is Borei pri Haadamah, which covers the liquid as well. Okay, so very interesting. So commentary. Onion soup made from dehydrated soup mixes are usually made from flavorings and small amount of the dehydrated onion solids. The onion solids are added merely to enhance liquid. The bracha of such a soup shechakol. Okay. So in fresh onion soup, of course the onions are the majority. So you say Borei pri Haadamah. But in this instant soup, I guess, this dehydrated soup mixes, right? So when onions is only minority, so they're only there to enhance the taste. It's not majority. So in this case, we say that he's eating this soup for the liquid itself. So the liquid itself is majority, is the primary thing. So he says shechakol and covers everything else. And the last one, I think it's last one. Yeah, rice and milk. Regarding rice and warm milk, rice and milk soup, see chapter 4, section E2. Hey, I think the rice is a primary, and if you continue eating with the milk, so milk is covered. There's no problem. Okay, so we finish the chapter. Any questions on the soups? We continue.
Yes, Rabbi.
Yeah, go ahead. No rush.
So just any soup, whatever it is, whatever the majority is, that's the bracha that we say over, whether it be vegetable soup, tomato soup, mushroom soup, we say pertaining to that majority, whatever is in the soup, right?
Except if there is some misogynist things, like there are noodles. You understand? Or it's matzah balls. Matzah balls that they make of matzah meal, that they take matzah, grind it, and then the eggs, other ingredients, make balls, right? Balls, and put it in the soup, and then they get this matzah ball get absorbed all of the flavor. It's very tasty things. So in this case, no, we say the main ingredient, and it's very important choshev, right? Very important food is a mizoyness. So we say Borei mine mizoyness actually. The translation, the foods that satiates, right? Even if it's less than vegetables, even if you have this noodles less than vegetables, let's say it's only like 30% of noodles, the rest of the vegetables and liquid, so you still have to say Borei mine mizoyness, and it's going to cover, but cover all other ingredients. So main point is on soup we say only one blessing, always only one blessing, only one blessing, very important. But then we go, yes, we go by majority, whatever is more, if you don't have any special preferences. So if you have any special preference, then you put yourself in that situation. So you say blessing on whatever you like more, and other ingredients. It's in some sense the enhancers to whatever you like more. You understand? So, but me personally, I try to be simple. There is no preferences, and it's easier life. Otherwise, it's not so simple. Not everything you can make a priority, even though you like that. But in some cases, you have to choose differently. But if you have approach, I don't have any preference. I like the whole dish, whatever is it. Just tell me what blessing to make. So it's simple. Most of the time, if there is no mizoyness, if it's no noodles, no this kreplach, kreplach is like ravioli, something like ravioli, right? So if there's no kreplach, there is no ravioli, there is no matzah balls, so it's very simple. You go by majority, right? So if it's mostly liquid, as they say, mostly liquid, so all other things are there just to enhance the liquid, right? So you say shechakol, even though there are other things. Okay, go ahead. Did I answer the question, or is it clear? Or tell me, please.
So for example, my wife makes the best chicken noodle soup. We would have to say for the noodles.
Yes, correct.
Not
yes.
necessarily for the chicken, right?
Yeah,
and vegetables.
Correct. You only say one blessing on the noodles, and it's going to cover chicken and vegetables and broth. Yes. Mm-hmm. So all of these cases, the doubtful cases that we described, it's only when they say when they have this these noodles, but only only a little of the noodles. Like for example, I'll give you a good example. I have a perfect example. During the pandemic, so we try not to go outside a lot. So we bought all these soups, like instant soups. We ordered before, like. And in these soups, I mean, there are only few ingredients, like a few, only few the noodles, like maybe I don't know, maybe 3% of all of these things. So that's what questionable situation. So you cannot just say Borei Minei Mizonos and expect to cover the whole soup. It's ridiculous, right? On one hand. On another hand, we say that it's very important food and you cannot ignore it. So what is going to be? So it's very simple. You follow example as we say in this book, right? Which is what you say blessing or on these noodles, because it's my minority. Noodles separately. You separate them from the soup, and then you say shechakol and something else, right? And it's going to cover the rest. Or what we did a little different. So we did we ate cracker, right? Just a little piece of cracker. That's it. You need. That's all you need. And you say Borei Minei Mizonos. It covers the noodles in a soup because it was, as I said, it's ridiculous minority. Was, and then you will say shechakol in a soup. There is no problem, and it's going to cover. Or shechakol on something on chicken, and then you eat soup. Okay, that's, I think, even better. But if you have a lot of noodles, there is no doubt you have to say Borei Minei Mizonos. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so if not, so let's, yeah, go ahead.
Rabbi, I have one other question. What is the blessing on mushrooms?
On the mushroom soup?
Yes, mushrooms.
Okay, no problem. So first of all, as we said, that the blessing for the mushrooms themselves is shechakol. They're not vegetables, right? So if majority of your soup is vegetables, right? I have in the mushroom soup you have potatoes. Let's say if you have vegetables, I have carrots, potatoes. So you say my majority. If majority is vegetables, so you say Borei Haadamah, the fruit of the ground, and this is going to cover mushrooms, even the shechakol and liquid, and everything else. But if you have mushroom barley soup, right? So, right, it's mushroom barley soup. So on barley, you say Borei Minei Mizonos, right? So, and it's going to cover all of the other ingredients, including mushrooms. In a scenario that author gave, I mean, maybe it's possible. Maybe I'm not such a big food expert, but he said if there are more mushrooms than vegetables. I don't know, maybe, I mean, if he said, of course, it's possible. So if you have such a rich soup, there is more mushrooms than the other vegetables, yeah, then you say shechakol. And it's going to cover everything. Shechakol is by whose word everything came into being. Got it? Clear or not? Okay.
Yeah, so when it comes to rice, I had, it was my understanding there was two different opinions on whether it's Beezrat when it's dry rice or when it's cooked if it's pre-Haadamah because it's cooked into a vegetable form. What is your opinion on that?
No, I have, yes. I mean, rice is eaten only cooked. Nobody eats raw rice. If somebody must eat raw rice for whatever reason, he does not say any blessing at all because it's not considered to be food. So on rice we say Borei Minei Mizonos for sure. It's majority of opinion, but you're right. There is such a minority opinion that exists. They say no. It is actually vegetable, right? It's regular vegetables. So and they say Borei Haadamah. So these people who say Borei Haadamah, they trying to to find like a middle ground. And how they try to find a middle ground? So they say two blessings on before eating rice, on something that for sure required mizonos, like a piece of cracker, let's say. So it's a good idea to have in the house like one pack of crackers, and if you like, in case of the doubt, just take half of it, like a quarter of it. It's like it's very good idea just to have it handy in case of the doubt. And it's not like you have to eat a lot, just a little piece. But for this little piece, you need to say the blessing, right? So these people would say two blessings, right? One blessing they would have on for sure something that required mizoines, like this cracker, and second blessing they would say on something that required Borei Haadamah. So in this case, they try to cover like all of the angles. But according to this book and according to Mishnah Brura and Shulchan Aruch, we say Borei Minei Mizoines, and the explanation is that rice in many countries, in many like Asian countries, like Eastern countries, is the main food, is staple food. You understand? They compare this rice to bread in I don't know, in European countries, let's say, in America, right? So in America, people mostly eat bread, not rice. But in India, in China, in other countries, in South America, I think they eat more rice than bread. You understand? So that's why I just knew that. They say the rice is very important. So and it's food that satiates. So for example, if you eat sushi, right? I don't know if you eat sushi. So this fish is very good. It's very, very, very important. But if you eat only fish, you're going to stay hungry. So why are you satiated from eating sushi, right? Why? Because you eat rice. Rice is very like satiating. That's it. if they sell only fish, they're will go out of the business, right? Because it's people would not pay so much money. But with rice, yeah, they feel satiated. So that's why we say Borei Minei Mizoines on rice, but there is opinion say Borei Haadamah. But we don't follow that opinion. But if somebody wants, there is no problem, right? But just to make sure to say also a blessing on something that mizoines, just in case if he's wrong. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so we actually we can stop here. So if you have any questions on any topic, you can go ahead. So it's actually just to remind us. So next week, Monday and Tuesday, is going to be Rosh HaShanah, right? So Rosh HaShanah starts on Sunday night. So check your calendar, wherever you're located for candlelighting times. So and just in the summary, the halachas for a holiday as Rosh Hashanah are almost identical to Shabbos. The only difference, there are a few differences. The two main differences, I would say, is that on Yom Tov, like on Rosh Hashanah, you can cook. You can cook from the beginning, so you don't need to do all of this. Whatever we learn how to warm the food, blech on. Okay, if you want, you can. There is nobody stopping you. But you can actually put the food on a flame, and you can cook the whole chicken from the freezer, no problem. So whatever you need to do for cooking, you can do on Yom Tov. But it's I would say technically you can, but practically it's not recommended, right? I mean, enjoy Yom Tov, and plus on Rosh Hashanah it's very long davening, very long, very, very long. I think the morning services maybe 5 hours, maybe more. Around 4.5, from 4.5 to 5.5 hours, depends on the synagogue. So now, I mean, after such a service, of course, you want all of the food ready, or you don't want to cook. That's a little too much, right? And then you have a little break, like few hours break, and then you go to the services again. So when exactly you're going to cook? But just so you know, you can cook. The only thing, you cannot light the candles from a new flame. So you cannot strike a match on Yom Tov, same on Shabbos. But you can light the candles for a second day. So on the first day there is no problem whatsoever. It's still weekday or Sunday, so you can light the candle, no problem. But for the second day, it's a holidays. So you're going from one holiday to another holiday. It's very important, right? So what do? And check time in advance for the second day also, because it's going to be a little later than okay. Check time. And so it's what we do. We leave a memorial candle for 48 hours, right? 48 hours, and from that, so it's always burning. And from that memorial candle, you can take light. You can take match, and you can light your Yom Tov candles. And but you cannot extinguish the light, the flame. So, for example, if you want to use your stove to warm up food, so you can light it on let's say on the day of Rosh HaShanah, but you have to leave it going until the end of the holidays, until Tuesday night. And the second difference on a holiday, that you can carry everything, whatever you need for the holidays, for enjoyment of the holidays. You need a key. So on Shabbos you cannot carry a key, right? But you need a key. You want to go to the park, wherever you visit your friends, wherever you go. It's your business, so you can go. You can take baby in a baby stroller, no problem. You can take a bottle for a baby, diapers, whatever you need to take. You can take tissues, whatever. You can take a book, go to your friend to learn, and there is no problem. So there are two major difference between Rosh Hashanah, between Yom Tov in general and Shabbos. Okay, so that's coming on this Sunday night. Okay, any other questions? Go ahead.
Yes, Rob. I just had a quick question about the. So, say for instance, we wanted to fry some food, like do fried mushrooms or fried mozzarella sticks or whatever. Does the bracha, when you start dipping the mushrooms or cheese in liquids and then coating them with breadcrumbs, does the bracha change doing that, or does it stay the same?
It's very interesting question. So in this case, if you fry, you said that you want to fry them and put them in a breadcrumbs and fry them like this. Was it your question? Or
yeah. So say we wanted some fried mushrooms that we want to make ourselves.
Yes, yeah.
So we go to the store, buy the mushrooms, come back, make a liquid I don't know, maybe coconut milk or with the eggs, and put spices, dip the mushroom, and then coat it instead of flour, do breadcrumbs.
Okay, so
Panko crumbs and stuff, and then fry them. So does any time we do something like that, do the brachas change, or say the mushroom or the cheese or whatever?
It's a good question. So let me start with the easy scenario. So you don't have breadcrumbs. So if no breadcrumbs, if you put the cheese, of course, the bracha is the same, shechakol. The blessing on mushroom shechakol and cheese shechakol. All of the liquids, whatever you do, in the secondary, just to improve the taste, they don't change the blessing. But when you put the breadcrumbs, that depends. If you put only a little breadcrumbs, a little to enhance the taste, so for sure that's secondary, and they insignificant. And you say only one blessing, shechakol, and it's going to cover breadcrumbs. But if you have a thick layer of the bread from the breadcrumbs, they sometimes I don't know what they call it chicken fingers, whatever, or fish fingers, right? So it's a thick dough, right? From with breadcrumbs, and the inside I have a piece of chicken or piece of fish. So on that dish, you for sure you have to say Borei Minei Mizoines. But if it's only a few crumbs, as you said, like put it, dip it in the crumbs here and there, like from this side, from that side, put it on a frying pan. So the blessing would be shechako. Only when it's a little, but when it's a lot, like thick layer, so of course it changes and it's going to be mizoines. So you have to, right, that's it. So you have to be careful. Put only a little, right? So it's going to be according to all of the opinions, or put a lot, like a thick covering. I don't think that's what you purpose, but if it's a lot of breadcrumbs, or a lot of dough, like that cover the food, for sure it's Borei Minei Mizoines. Okay. Got it? Okay, any other questions?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, or we stop here? Okay, so let's stop here until Wednesday, Beezrat Hashem. So we wish each other to be written and sealed in a book of life for the next year. Because Rosh HaShanah is a judgment day. So all of the living creatures are judged on this day. Who is going to live, who is going to die, who is going to find his soulmate, who is not going to find, who is going to be sick, who is not going to be sick, who is going to make money, who is not going to make money. So it's very, very important day. Treat it seriously and make sure don't sleep, especially on the first day, Rosh Hashanah. Don't take nap. That's not what we do. So do whatever you need to do. Don't sleep on the first day. If you must, you're so tired, must sleep on the second day, you can sleep. But the first day, it's like when there is a court case and person wants to sleep, it shows the judge this person does not care. So, all right, thank you very much. Good night, and until Wednesday night. Thank you. Bye-bye.